It was a cold, rainy evening in the city, the kind where the lights of the skyscrapers blurred into streaks through the mist. Maya Williams walked briskly down the sidewalk, her worn shoes splashing through shallow puddles. Her coat, once black, had faded to a dull gray, fraying at the edges. Clutched in her arms was a small bundle, Lily, a fragile 2-year-old with wide, trusting eyes, who had fallen asleep against her chest during the hour-long trek from the shelter to the temporary housing arranged by the foundation. Maya's heart was heavy, not just with the weight of the child she was caring for, but with the realization of how quickly life could shift. She had been a maid, invisible to the world of wealth and power around her, but tonight, her arms carried something more than a child. They carried responsibility, trust, and a sliver of hope. The building ahead loomed large, its brick facade darkened by the rain, the windows reflecting the neon lights of the city. Maya climbed the narrow steps to the front door, her fingers stiff from the cold. With a trembling hand, she unlocked the door and slipped inside, immediately greeted by the warmth and faint scent of coffee lingering in the air. Nathaniel Blake, the billionaire who owned the building, stood at the kitchen counter, his posture rigid, jaw tight, hands gripping the edge. The moment he saw Maya with Lily, his face tightened. "What are you doing?" His voice was sharp, controlled, but the undercurrent of worry was undeniable. "I'm bringing her in," Maya said softly, careful not to jostle Lily. "She fell asleep on the walk back. I didn't want to wake her." Nathaniel's eyes narrowed. He had grown used to control over his company, his home, and everyone who stepped inside. But he had not grown used to the unpredictability of a child's needs, especially not one he barely knew. "You can't just—" he began, but stopped when he noticed Lily stirring slightly, her tiny fingers curling around the edge of Maya's coat. She whimpered, her voice so small it might have been lost in the sound of the rain. Maya knelt down carefully, adjusting Lily in her arms. "She's okay," she whispered. "She just needs to feel safe." Nathaniel watched, silent, his brow furrowed. Something in him shifted as he looked at the child. How delicate she was, how instinctively she reached for comfort. It was a feeling he had long buried, a mixture of protectiveness and helplessness that he hadn't anticipated. Hours passed in the quiet apartment. Lily slept fitfully, occasionally letting out a soft whimper that made Maya flinch. She adjusted the blankets, hummed a lullaby she hadn't sung in years, and for the first time in a long time, allowed herself to feel the weight of belonging. Nathaniel lingered in the shadows of the living room, observing. He had always believed that wealth could solve problems, that strategy could manage human emotions, but the sight of Maya cradling Lily in the dim lamplight was a revelation. There was no grand gesture, no corporate plan, just quiet love, patient and steady, shaping a world for someone who had almost none. The first night was the hardest. Lily cried when Maya tried to lay her down in the crib. The baby's tiny fists waved in the air, and her sobs pierced the silence of the room. Nathaniel, used to authority and precision, froze, unsure what to do. Maya's gentle voice guided him. "She only sleeps if she feels safe. Hold her, Nathaniel. Just hold her." Hesitant at first, he reached out. Lily's cries escalated the moment she left Maya's arms, but Nathaniel didn't flinch. He mirrored Maya's gentle motions, whispering soft reassurances. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, Lily's sobs became hiccups, then silence. Maya stepped back, watching, her chest tight with relief. Nathaniel's eyes met hers, a silent acknowledgement passing between them. Over the next few days, routines formed. Maya became the center of Lily's world, the constant in a life that had been anything but stable. Nathaniel observed, learning to respect her patience, her unwavering calm. He began to understand that true strength wasn't in commanding a room or running a company. It was in consistency, care, and the courage to show up when it mattered most. One afternoon, the city sun broke through the clouds, casting golden light into the nursery. Maya sat in the rocking chair, Lily perched on her lap, quietly stacking blocks. Nathaniel entered, carrying 2 mugs of coffee. "I made this one for you," he said, offering her the cup. Maya accepted it, warmth from the porcelain seeping into her hands. They sat together in silence, watching Lily play. The child's laughter rang out as the blocks toppled, echoing off the walls like a promise. Nathaniel's hand brushed Maya's accidentally, a small, grounding gesture. For a moment, the world outside didn't matter. It was just the 3 of them, fragile and human, learning to exist together in a space that had once been cold and unfeeling. Then came the complication. The phone rang, sharp and insistent. Nathaniel answered, his voice low but tense. Maya caught fragments, words like Claire and coming tomorrow. Claire, Lily's biological mother, was returning. Maya's heart sank. She adjusted the blanket around Lily, bracing herself for a confrontation that she knew would be messy, emotional, and inevitable. The next morning, Claire arrived, poised and polished, yet hesitant. Nathaniel handed Lily over, and for a fleeting moment there was a picture-perfect tableau of mother and child. But the illusion broke as Lily began to cry, frantic and panicked. Maya stepped forward instinctively, holding her close. Claire froze, the moment heavy with unspoken truths. Lily didn't know her, but she knew Maya. The aftermath was quiet, but charged. Claire left, but the ripples remained. Nathaniel and Maya sat in the foyer, processing. "She doesn't just need love," Nathaniel said. "She needs consistency. You've been her whole world." Maya nodded, her chest tight, realizing the weight of her role. She had begun as a caretaker, invisible to the family, yet now she was essential. Weeks passed, the snow fell and melted, and life at the Blake estate transformed. Maya began contributing to Nathaniel's new foundation project, offering insights from her lived experience. The 2 of them, once divided by wealth and circumstance, were now collaborators, learning to navigate care, responsibility, and trust together. Through late nights, early mornings, and quiet shared moments with Lily, they built a rhythm, a family without grand declarations, just persistent presence. Maya learned to trust Nathaniel's intentions. Nathaniel learned to value patience and emotional labor. And in the stillness of countless shared hours, the foundation of something enduring formed. One rainy Saturday, a letter arrived at the foundation, an appeal for help from someone Maya had known long ago. It reopened a chapter of injustice and resilience, setting the stage for a new mission. Maya would not just save a child or a household, she would confront systemic wrongs, amplifying voices that had long been silenced. Nathaniel stood by her, their partnership now forged in trust and shared purpose. The section closes with a quiet image. Maya rocking Lily in the nursery, the rain tapping gently on the window, Nathaniel watching from the doorway, a small smile tugging at his lips. Outside, the city moved on, but inside, something real, fragile, and vital had begun. The morning after Claire's visit, the Blake estate felt unusually quiet. Snow had begun to fall again, soft flakes clinging to window panes and pine branches outside. Maya sat in the nursery, gently rocking Lily, whose soft breaths had finally found rhythm again after the storm of emotions the day before. Even in sleep, Lily's little fists occasionally twitched as though holding on to something unseen. Nathaniel stood in the doorway, coffee in hand, his hair still a little tousled from the restless night. His usual rigid posture had softened, but there was tension in his jaw, a quiet war of feelings he wasn't ready to voice. He watched Maya move with Lily, so calm, so patient, and it was a revelation. Here, wealth and power were meaningless. What mattered was quiet dedication, presence, the ability to soothe fear with nothing but human touch. "Good morning," Maya murmured, her voice steady despite the exhaustion in her limbs. Nathaniel nodded, setting the mug down on the side table. "Morning. Did you sleep?" Maya shook her head slightly, rocking Lily closer. "A little. I couldn't stop thinking about yesterday. Claire. Lily. It's complicated." He stepped closer, lowering his voice. "I know. I didn't expect it to be that messy either." The baby stirred, opening her sleepy eyes and stretching her arms toward Maya. She whispered a soft, tiny sound. "Mia," as if acknowledging the only person who had been her constant. Nathaniel knelt beside them, watching the interaction. Something deep inside him shifted. The realization that true trust wasn't given lightly, and Maya had earned it without demanding recognition. That morning, the house hummed with activity, yet everyone moved carefully, respecting the fragile balance. Mrs. Delaney prepared breakfast, the smell of toasted bread and coffee filling the kitchen. Rosa hummed as she organized linens, and even the normally rigid staff moved with quiet patience around the nursery. Maya gently placed Lily in her high chair, brushing crumbs from her yellow sweater, embroidered with the little sun on the pocket. Lily giggled as the sun caught in her curls. Nathaniel watched quietly, his mind spinning with both relief and awe. He had once believed he could command loyalty with authority alone. Now he realized he was learning lessons from the very people he had overlooked, from Maya, from Lily, from the quiet dignity that sustained a household through storms, literal and metaphorical. Later that day, Maya found herself standing at the office of the foundation, reviewing files Nathaniel had gathered about single mothers struggling in the city. Her hands trembled slightly, not from fear, but from the weight of responsibility. She had gone from being invisible, overlooked by everyone in her life, to holding the insights that could affect hundreds of women who, like her, had once been told their presence didn't matter. Nathaniel appeared beside her, sleeves rolled, hands folded. "You're doing more than you realize," he said softly. "What you're seeing, what you're feeling, it's the missing piece in this system." Maya looked up, meeting his eyes. "I'm just a maid," she said quietly. "I wasn't trained for this." "You were trained by life," Nathaniel replied. "And that experience matters more than degrees or titles. You understand what it's like to be unseen, unheard. That perspective is powerful." Over the next few days, Maya began documenting the stories of women who had been left behind, marginalized, silenced. She met with journalists, volunteers, and single mothers who had faced systemic obstacles. Some stories were heartbreaking, others infuriating, but all carried a kernel of resilience. Maya learned to navigate meetings with corporate teams, translating emotional experience into actionable features for Nathaniel's new foundation app. The turning point came one evening when Maya returned to the nursery after hours of interviews and field research. Lily was asleep, tucked into her crib with a small blanket Maya had sewn herself. Maya knelt beside the crib, tracing the tiny curve of Lily's cheek. The girl stirred, opening her eyes just enough to smile faintly before drifting back into sleep. In that moment, Maya understood the stakes. She wasn't just advocating for women in the abstract. She was shaping a future where children like Lily could grow up with stability, safety, and love. Nathaniel entered quietly, standing behind her. "You're incredible," he whispered. "Not just for Lily, but for everyone who's counting on you." Maya shook her head slightly. "I'm not sure I deserve that." "Yes, you do," he said firmly. "You've been the constant when nothing else made sense. You've shown us all what matters." That night, a new sense of purpose settled over Maya. She stayed late in the office, typing notes, building frameworks, and reviewing the personal stories that would form the backbone of the Foundation's initiatives. Nathaniel occasionally joined, offering suggestions, but mostly he observed, learning patience, humility, and the quiet power of collaboration. Then came the unexpected challenge. Marissa. The letter arrived like a whisper from the past, folded neatly in pale blue paper with Maya's name written across it. No return address. Inside, the plea was simple, desperate. Marissa, a former night nurse at the Grayson estate, had been erased from records, blacklisted for witnessing corporate corruption years ago. She was in danger, and she had nowhere else to turn. Maya's pulse quickened. She remembered Marissa, not well, but enough. Quiet, careful, observant. Someone who had once existed on the margins, just like Maya herself. She knew she couldn't ignore the call. By noon, Maya was in a cab headed toward a crumbling building on the edge of Brooklyn. The city blurred past, the gray, rainy streets reflecting her own nervous anticipation. When she arrived, the building loomed, windows covered in plastic, rust creeping along the edges. Inside, Marissa sat on a torn couch, pale and tired, but with eyes that burned with urgent intelligence. "I'm sorry," Marissa said, voice trembling. "I didn't know who else to call. You're the only one I could trust." Maya sat beside her, listening as Marissa detailed years of being silenced, erased, and left to survive in the cracks. Internal emails, forged signatures, and abandoned pension files littered the table between them, a testament to the systemic abuse they had both witnessed. Maya's heart pounded, but clarity emerged alongside fear. This was more than a story of corporate wrongdoing. It was about accountability, justice, and the power of those who refused to stay silent. She and Nathaniel strategized, carefully weighing risks and benefits, understanding that moving too fast could bury the truth again. Their approach was deliberate, personal, grounded, impossible to ignore. Over the next 2 weeks, Maya mobilized a network of women, journalists, and whistleblowers. Each story, each voice, added weight and visibility to the narrative. They built a campaign not just to expose wrongdoing, but to illuminate resilience and courage, the quiet acts of strength that made change possible. Finally, the video went live. Simple, direct, raw. Maya sat in the foundation office, the folder of evidence in her lap. Her voice was calm, unflinching. "This isn't about revenge," she said. "It's about accountability, about those who were told to be invisible. I was one of them, but I'm not anymore. And neither is Marissa." The response was immediate. Social media erupted. Reporters demanded statements. Executives resigned. Nathaniel called for an emergency board meeting to begin a full investigation. Maya, meanwhile, sat beside Marissa in a hospital as the older woman underwent surgery for a tumor long ignored, a quiet reminder that change had consequences, both systemic and deeply personal. The week closed with a moment of quiet victory. Nathaniel found Maya in the Grayson estate, Lily asleep upstairs. They sat together on the sofa, the smell of garlic and rosemary lingering from dinner. The silence was comfortable, a shared understanding of what had been accomplished and what lay ahead. "You did it," Nathaniel said softly. "You didn't just tell the truth. You built something real." Maya looked at him, then at Lily, and back at him again. "Love isn't always about falling," she said. "Sometimes it's about standing. Standing when it's hard, when it's dangerous, when no one else will." Nathaniel took her hand, and together they sat in the quiet heart of the storm, knowing they had survived, yes, but more importantly, they had begun to thrive. Outside, the city moved, indifferent and relentless. Inside, a small corner of the world had been reshaped by compassion, resilience, and courage. Maya, Nathaniel, and Lily had not just weathered the storm, they had built a shelter for the future, one act of love at a time. The days following the release of the Marissa video were a whirlwind. Maya returned to the foundation early, even before sunrise, carrying Lily wrapped in a soft blanket. The city outside was still damp from rain, the streets quiet except for the occasional hum of a delivery truck or the distant wail of sirens. Maya felt a strange blend of fatigue and exhilaration. Her small act of courage had rippled into something far larger than she could have imagined. Nathaniel arrived shortly after, sleeves rolled, tie loosened, his usual stoic expression softened by a hint of pride. "You've created a storm," he said, nodding toward the monitors, showing media coverage and social media trends. Maya barely had time to respond before a flood of emails, calls, and messages hit her inbox. Each note carried a story: women sharing their struggles, parents seeking advice, and former employees stepping forward to report abuse and negligence. The gravity of what they had begun was both exhilarating and overwhelming. "Look at this," Nathaniel said, tapping on a document with marked urgency. "Former executives, current staff, board members, many want to speak. They can't ignore the pressure. The investigations are moving faster than I anticipated." Maya felt a pang of anxiety. Public exposure could protect victims but also place them at risk. "We need to make sure everyone is safe," she said. "No one should feel threatened while trying to do the right thing." Nathaniel nodded. "Agreed. That's why we're implementing secure communication channels through the app. Anonymous forums, encrypted messaging, everything. They'll have a voice without fear." As they worked through the day, Lily crawled freely across the foundation office, giggling as she pounced on soft rugs and batted at dangling cords. Maya kept a watchful eye, letting the child explore while also balancing strategy sessions with journalists and interviews with board members. Watching Lily reminded Maya of why the stakes were so high, not just for Marissa or herself, but for every child growing up in a world where power often overshadowed justice. By late afternoon, Nathaniel called Maya to the large windows overlooking the city skyline. "I've been thinking," he said, voice quiet, contemplative. "We've exposed the problem, but we also need to offer solutions. Concrete steps, something the public can follow and trust." Maya leaned against the glass, Lily clinging to her leg. "The app is a start," she said, "but we need real-world outreach, community centers, mentoring programs, legal aid. People need more than stories. They need actionable help." Nathaniel considered this, then smiled faintly. "I want you to lead that initiative. You know what it's like to be invisible. You can give others the tools to be seen, to be heard." Maya's heart pounded. Leadership was something she had never imagined for herself. She was used to cleaning floors, mending clothes, being unseen. And yet here she was, entrusted with shaping the lives of countless women and children. The weight of it was terrifying but also empowering. That evening, the foundation office had quieted down. Lily had been put to bed, humming a soft lullaby she had picked up from Maya's gentle voice. Maya stayed behind, reviewing files and strategizing the next steps. The soft glow of the desk lamp illuminated stacks of papers and a half-finished notebook filled with ideas, sketches, and lists of names. She paused, taking a deep breath, feeling the pulse of responsibility in her chest. Nathaniel returned, carrying 2 mugs of tea. "You've been here all day," he said softly. "Take a break. You deserve it." "I can't," Maya replied, though her voice was calm. "Not yet. There's too much to do." He set a mug beside her, taking a seat across the desk. "I've seen what you can do," he said quietly. "I've watched you care for Lily, for Marissa, for everyone here. You've never needed recognition, but you've earned it." Maya looked down, her fingers tracing the rim of the mug. "Recognition isn't why I do this," she murmured. "I do it because someone has to." Nathaniel's gaze softened. "And that someone is extraordinary. Don't forget it." The next morning, Maya and Nathaniel traveled to meet Marissa in the hospital, checking on her recovery. The older woman's eyes lit up when she saw Maya, gratitude and relief mingling with quiet pride. "I don't know how to thank you," she said. You already did, Maya replied gently. You trusted me. That's enough. Meanwhile, the foundation's impact began to ripple through the city. Women who had previously felt silenced now had forums to share experiences. Volunteers joined the programs Maya spearheaded, offering tutoring, childcare support, and legal guidance. The app became a hub of empowerment, a living testament to what could happen when empathy met action. One afternoon, while reviewing new submissions from users, Maya noticed a pattern. Numerous reports of systemic abuse and neglect that had been ignored for years. She realized that exposing one story had opened the floodgates for many more. Nathaniel joined her, reading the accounts with a mixture of horror and resolve. We can't let this end with Marissa, he said firmly. We have to ensure accountability across the board. The work was exhausting, but Maya found herself fueled by a sense of purpose she had never experienced before. Each story she read, each mother she met, reinforced her belief that change was possible. And through it all, Lily remained a constant, innocent reminder of why they fought. The next generation deserved better. Then came a call from the media. A major network wanted an exclusive interview with Maya. They wanted to hear the story firsthand, from the person who had turned silence into action. Nathaniel prepared her, but he also let her speak in her own voice, ensuring that authenticity remained at the forefront. The interview aired that evening. Maya sat in the foundation office, the city skyline glowing behind her. Her words were measured, but powerful, sharing not just the exposure of wrongdoing, but the human stories behind it. She spoke of resilience, of courage, of the importance of standing even when the world tried to erase you. Viewers were captivated. Comments poured in. Shares skyrocketed. People were inspired, mobilized, and, most importantly, connected to a cause that transcended headlines. As the day ended, Maya returned home to the Blake estate, where Nathaniel and Lily awaited. She entered the nursery to find Lily asleep, a small smile on her face as if she understood the progress of the day. Nathaniel watched Maya with quiet admiration, recognizing that she had not only transformed the foundation, but had also become an anchor for their unconventional family. Later that night, Maya reflected on the journey, the moments of fear, uncertainty, and courage. She remembered the nights she had slept on the floor for Lily, the moments of confrontation with Nathaniel, and the revelation of Marissa's plight. Each step had been a small act of defiance against invisibility, and together, they had built something lasting. Nathaniel joined her in the study, sitting silently as the rain tapped against the window. You've changed everything, he said quietly. Not just the foundation, not just the city, but me. Maya smiled faintly. I didn't do it alone, she replied. You didn't either. We learned to stand together. Outside, the city continued its relentless pace, but within the walls of the foundation and the Blake estate, something profound had shifted. Small acts of care had grown into movements. Fear had given way to courage. Silence had given way to voices, strong and unwavering. And in that quiet moment, Maya realized the truth she had long resisted. She was no longer invisible. She was a force for change, a protector, a mother, a leader. And with Nathaniel by her side, she had the chance to ensure that the ripple of their actions would extend far beyond the walls of the Blake estate and the foundation office. The days that followed continued with the rhythm of work, care, and growth. The foundation's programs expanded. Lily learned to walk with confidence, and Maya began to see the impact of her decisions reflected in the lives of those she helped. Each challenge tested her resolve, but also reaffirmed her belief in the power of quiet dedication and unwavering compassion. The weeks following the viral video were a whirlwind of activity, but Maya quickly realized that the foundation's success brought both opportunities and complications. Early mornings blended into late nights as she juggled meetings with journalists, volunteers, and legal advisors, all while keeping Lily's routine stable. The child, now more confident and curious, explored every corner of the Blake estate, toddling behind Maya as she moved from room to room, her small hands gripping the hem of Maya's blouse for safety and reassurance. Each step Lily took was a reminder of why Maya had dedicated herself to the work: to create a world where children like her could grow in safety, love, and visibility. Nathaniel, too, had changed. The man who had once shouted and demanded obedience now observed quietly, often offering support without the weight of authority pressing down. He would bring Lily into meetings, carefully balancing work with parenting, and often sought Maya's guidance before making decisions about the foundation. Their dynamic had shifted from employer-employee tension to mutual respect, a partnership forged in crisis and care. One morning, as Maya sorted through correspondence on the Foundation's sleek white desk, a notification popped up from the app's analytics dashboard. Usage had tripled overnight. Women from across the city were logging in, posting their stories, sharing experiences, and offering advice to one another. Maya leaned back, exhaustion pressing against her shoulders, but a sense of satisfaction warmed her chest. This was what she had fought for: real people, real connections, and the beginnings of systemic change. Nathaniel appeared at the doorway holding a tablet with a list of upcoming meetings. "We've got a press briefing this afternoon, and then the board wants an update on the Foundation's outreach programs," he said. "Are you ready?" Maya rubbed her temples. "As ready as I'll ever be." She paused, looking at Lily, who was engrossed in stacking colored blocks on the floor. The baby looked up and giggled, reaching out with tiny hands. Maya's heart softened. "Let's do this for them," she whispered to herself, then carried Lily to the car. The press briefing was intense. Reporters asked probing questions, some attempting to sensationalize the story, others genuinely curious about the Foundation's work. Maya fielded each inquiry with poise, articulating the importance of systemic accountability and community support. She emphasized that the Foundation was not just a reaction to one person's suffering, but a proactive platform to protect women, children, and vulnerable employees from exploitation. After the briefing, Maya and Nathaniel returned to the office where Marissa had been waiting. Her recovery had progressed well, but the ordeal had left her both physically and emotionally drained. She looked at Maya with gratitude. "You didn't have to do this," Marissa said softly. "You could have walked away." Maya shook her head. "Someone had to care. You trusted me with your story, and I couldn't ignore it." Marissa smiled faintly, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "You've made more of a difference than you realize, not just for me, but for everyone who's been silenced." As the days turned into weeks, the Foundation expanded its reach. Volunteers organized workshops, legal advisors offered pro bono consultations, and a network of former employees stepped forward to mentor those navigating similar challenges. Maya spearheaded every initiative, often working late into the night, sometimes sleeping in the Foundation office to ensure everything ran smoothly. Nathaniel would occasionally join her, bringing tea or snacks, quietly offering support without intruding on her focus. Amid the professional chaos, personal challenges emerged. Claire Morgan's unexpected visit lingered in Maya's mind, a reminder that not all connections could be easily mended or forgotten. Claire had returned briefly, only to see Lily and leave, but the encounter stirred old emotions for Nathaniel and subtle tensions for Maya. She had to navigate the delicate balance between past and present, ensuring that her focus remained on the Foundation and Lily, rather than unresolved personal conflicts. One evening, while reviewing app submissions, Maya noticed a troubling pattern. Several users reported threats and harassment from former employers after coming forward with their stories. The realization struck her like a punch to the chest. Exposure alone wasn't enough. People needed protection, legal guidance, and emotional support. "We need to act," Maya said, urgency threading her voice. "They're brave enough to speak out, but they're at risk. We can't just give them a platform, we need to safeguard them." Nathaniel nodded. "Agreed. We'll implement secure channels, connect them with legal aid, and provide counseling services. We'll make the platform not just a voice, but a shield." The next few weeks were a blur of meetings, workshops, and strategy sessions. The Foundation's staff grew, bringing in experts in child welfare, law, and mental health. Maya trained volunteers, sharing her experience, emphasizing empathy, discretion, and resilience. Each day, she saw tangible impact: a mother finding legal support, a young woman gaining confidence to speak up, a family accessing childcare resources that allowed them to stabilize their lives. Amid the professional growth, personal moments of warmth anchored Maya. Lily's laughter became a daily tonic, her curiosity reminding Maya of the stakes at hand. Nathaniel would often watch Maya with a soft expression, recognizing the depth of her dedication and the sacrifices she made. Their relationship, built on shared responsibility, mutual respect, and quiet acts of care, deepened with each passing day. One rainy afternoon, as Maya prepared for a meeting with potential donors, she noticed Lily standing by the window, her small hands pressed against the glass. The child's gaze followed the rain cascading down the city streets, her expression thoughtful and serene. Maya knelt beside her. "You like the rain?" she asked gently. Lily nodded, a small smile spreading across her face. "It's peaceful," Maya murmured, feeling a rare moment of calm wash over her. Nathaniel appeared in the doorway, observing the scene silently. "She's learning from the best," he said softly, acknowledging Maya's quiet influence. The following day brought unexpected challenges. A major corporation attempted to discredit the Foundation, sending legal threats and questioning the validity of the Marissa case. Maya and Nathaniel faced intense scrutiny, but they remained steadfast. Maya organized a press conference, calmly presenting evidence, highlighting the real human impact and demonstrating the Foundation's integrity. The response was overwhelmingly supportive, with community leaders, former employees, and affected families voicing solidarity. Maya's leadership style, a blend of empathy, intelligence, and courage, became the cornerstone of the Foundation's identity. Volunteers often remarked on her ability to balance professionalism with compassion, her insistence on listening before acting, and her unwavering commitment to those she served. Nathaniel, observing from the sidelines, realized that Maya's approach was not only effective but transformative, reshaping the Foundation into a model of ethical, human-centered leadership. Evenings were quieter, a chance for reflection and renewal. Maya would sit by the nursery watching Lily sleep, feeling the weight of the day's challenges lift in the presence of innocence and trust. Nathaniel often joined her, sharing thoughts, strategizing future initiatives, or simply enjoying the serenity of the moment. They discussed plans to expand the Foundation nationally, ideas for mentorship programs, and ways to provide long-term support for women and children. Each conversation, grounded in respect and shared vision, strengthened their bond and reinforced their commitment to meaningful change. The story of Marissa, once a source of fear and oppression, had become a catalyst for empowerment. Maya, through her courage, vision, and unyielding dedication, transformed personal pain into collective strength. Nathaniel, witnessing her resolve, recognized the profound impact of compassion in action. Lily, the innocent observer, embodied the tangible result of their efforts, a life nurtured, safe, and full of possibility. As spring turned into early summer, the Foundation's influence extended further. Social media campaigns, community workshops, and strategic partnerships amplified the impact, connecting countless individuals to resources, mentorship, and opportunities. Maya's approach, rooted in authenticity and empathy, inspired a new wave of civic engagement, highlighting the power of individual action in shaping systemic change. Amid this progress, personal growth continued. Maya reflected on her journey from a quiet, unrecognized caregiver to a leader driving social impact. She embraced her evolving role, acknowledging the responsibility and privilege of being a voice for the marginalized. Nathaniel's admiration deepened, not only for her achievements, but for her unwavering commitment to values often overlooked in positions of power. In a quiet moment, Maya stood on the balcony of the foundation office, gazing at the city bathed in golden evening light. She held Lily in her arms, feeling the child's steady heartbeat against her chest. The city hummed with life, challenges, and possibilities, but within her, a profound sense of purpose and belonging had taken root. Nathaniel joined her silently, placing a hand on her shoulder. "We've done more than I imagined," he said softly. Maya looked down at him, her eyes reflecting both determination and warmth. "And we've only just begun," she replied. The night settled around them, serene and quiet, yet vibrant with the promise of continued action. The foundation, once a response to injustice, had become a beacon of hope, guided by empathy, courage, and unwavering dedication. Together, Maya and Nathaniel prepared to face whatever challenges lay ahead, committed to ensuring that every voice was heard, every child protected, and every act of compassion amplified. Spring had settled into early summer, yet the world outside the foundation still felt uncertain, chaotic, and relentless. Rainstorms had passed, leaving the city streets glistening, but inside the foundation, life was moving at a frenetic pace. Maya's mornings began with Lily clambering into her bed, little arms wrapping around her neck, tugging at her hair, giggling at sounds only she could hear. "Come on, sunshine," Maya murmured, rolling out of bed. Each day began the same, a reminder of the delicate balance between urgency and care that defined her life now. The foundation had grown into a hub of activity. Volunteers moved with purpose, navigating the sleek white halls lined with hand-painted murals depicting families and children thriving. Social workers, legal consultants, and psychologists moved in a quiet, orchestrated rhythm, all under Maya's steady supervision. She had learned to delegate while maintaining oversight, balancing efficiency with empathy. Nathaniel had taken on a role less of authority and more of partnership, supporting Maya quietly while managing high-level negotiations and funding initiatives. One particularly bright morning, Maya received a call from a young woman named Jasmine. Her voice trembled with anxiety, recounting how she had been exploited at her previous workplace, afraid to speak out for fear of retaliation. Maya listened intently, offering comfort, guidance, and the assurance that Jasmine's story mattered. "You're not invisible here," she said softly, "and you will never be again." By the end of the call, Jasmine's tone had changed from fear to cautious hope, a transformation Maya had witnessed countless times in the weeks since the foundation went viral. Meanwhile, Lily's development accelerated at an astonishing pace. Her first steps were tentative, almost shy yet determined, each small stumble followed by an eruptive laugh that echoed through the halls. Maya often found herself stopping mid-task, watching her, marveling at the trust and joy she had inspired in the child. Lily had come to symbolize more than family. She was a living emblem of the foundation's mission, a tangible reminder of the difference care and consistency could make in a young life. Nathaniel, too, had shifted. The sharp edges of his former self, the man who barked orders, demanded compliance, and kept emotional distance, had softened into something human, approachable, and quietly commanding. He still carried the weight of responsibility, yet his priorities had realigned. Protecting Lily, supporting Maya, and ensuring the foundation's mission succeeded had replaced ego with purpose. He observed Maya with a growing admiration, often silently acknowledging her quiet strength, resilience, and intelligence. It was during one late afternoon that the true test arrived. A citywide initiative had contacted the foundation, requesting a partnership to expand services for single mothers and vulnerable children on a national level. The opportunity was enormous, but fraught with logistical, political, and social challenges. Maya convened a meeting in the foundation's conference room, her presence calm yet commanding as the team weighed feasibility against impact. "This is exactly what we've been working toward," she said, standing before the group, Lily perched safely in her arms. "But it's going to require every ounce of coordination, creativity, and courage we have. Are we ready?" The team exchanged glances. Volunteers nodded, staff murmured affirmations, and even Nathaniel's usually stoic expression softened into a rare, encouraging smile. "We are," he said, "and we'll make sure no one is left behind." The next several weeks were an intense whirlwind of travel, outreach, and strategic planning. Maya and Nathaniel visited shelters, community centers, and schools, gathering first-hand knowledge, building relationships, and documenting stories. Each interaction reinforced the foundation's purpose, painting a vivid picture of systemic neglect and human resilience. Maya's voice became a beacon, a steady anchor for those who had long been unheard. Despite the progress, challenges emerged relentlessly. Media scrutiny intensified as skeptics questioned the foundation's rapid expansion. Social media trolls attempted to undermine their credibility. Maya faced personal criticism for leading with emotion, while Nathaniel was scrutinized for his past leadership decisions at the Grayson Global scandal. Together, they endured, countering each attack with evidence, empathy, and an unwavering commitment to impact. One evening, after an especially grueling day of interviews and press statements, Maya found herself alone in the nursery with Lily. The child had fallen asleep mid-play, her tiny hands clutching a stuffed bear, her chest rising and falling with the ease of innocence. Maya sat on the floor, gently stroking Lily's curls, reflecting on the journey that had led her here. From the floor of the Blake Estates nursery, comforting a child who wasn't hers, to leading a national initiative advocating for single mothers and children, her life had been transformed through courage, care, and resilience. Nathaniel entered quietly, observing her from the doorway. "You're incredible," he said softly, almost a whisper. "Not just what you've built, but how you've built it." Maya looked up, eyes tired but resolute. "We've built it together," she corrected. "Every step, every challenge. It's never been about one person. It's about all of us, and everyone who's counted on us to make a difference." They sat together, silent, a rare moment of stillness amidst the chaos. The city outside glimmered with life, cars honking, pedestrians moving with purpose, distant sirens. But inside, there was a quiet serenity, a feeling that for now, everything was aligned. The true turning point arrived when Marissa, now fully recovered, joined the foundation officially as a mentor for women facing workplace exploitation. Her presence, a living testament to resilience, inspired both volunteers and beneficiaries. Maya watched as Marissa guided a young mother through legal paperwork, offering gentle encouragement and reassurance. It was a full-circle moment, the culmination of everything that had begun with a single act of compassion. Meanwhile, Lily's first real words broke through the morning quiet. "Maya!" she shouted, pointing at the foundation's logo on the wall. The small sound carried enormous weight, a tiny affirmation of connection, trust, and love. Maya laughed, scooping her up, holding her close. Nathaniel watched, eyes soft, realizing that in this small home, amidst chaos, ambition, and responsibility, they had created something truly lasting. The weeks that followed were a blend of growth, stability, and community. Partnerships flourished, funding streams stabilized, and the foundation's platform reached millions online. Stories poured in from women across the country, each one a testament to courage and the transformative power of being seen. Maya became a symbol, not for herself, but for every person who had been overlooked, undervalued, or silenced. Personal moments continued to anchor her. Rainy afternoons spent reading to Lily, quiet dinners with Nathaniel, or walks through the city where mothers and children approached them to express gratitude. All these instances reinforced why she had chosen this path. Every giggle, every word, every shy smile from Lily reminded Maya of what mattered: the quiet, unwavering presence that transforms lives, often in ways unseen. As summer progressed, the foundation celebrated its first anniversary with a public event. Families, volunteers, journalists, and supporters gathered in a sunny courtyard adorned with murals painted by the children and women the foundation had helped. Maya stood before the crowd, Lily clinging to her side, Nathaniel beside her. She spoke softly, yet with undeniable authority. This year has taught us that care, consistency, and courage can change the world. Not overnight, and not without sacrifice, but through steady, deliberate action. We've witnessed lives transformed, voices amplified, and communities strengthened. And this is just the beginning. The crowd erupted in applause, but Maya's attention remained on Lily, who clapped her tiny hands, giggling at the sound. Nathaniel took her hand, squeezing it gently, their silent communication a testament to the journey they had endured together. That night, as the city lights twinkled through the foundation's windows, Maya and Nathaniel sat together, reflecting on the incredible transformations. The video that had gone viral, the personal sacrifices, the societal impact, they had not only changed lives, but had created a blueprint for lasting change. Lily, exhausted from the day's excitement, fell asleep in Maya's arms. The soft rhythm of her breathing, combined with the faint hum of the city, filled the room with serenity. Maya looked at Nathaniel, her eyes glinting with unshed tears of gratitude and hope. "We did it," she whispered. Nathaniel nodded, his voice thick with emotion. "No, you did it. You never left her, never gave up. And in doing so, you saved more than just her. You saved us all." In the weeks that followed, the foundation continued to flourish. Maya's story, paired with the real-life stories of countless women and children, became a source of inspiration, a model of how empathy, courage, and persistence can create systemic change. Lily grew, thrived, and flourished, a living reminder of the foundation's mission and the quiet, relentless power of care. The final scene is one of quiet triumph. Maya, Nathaniel, and Lily walk hand in hand through the city park, sunlight reflecting off the water, children laughing nearby, volunteers and families moving with purpose in the distance. It is a scene of life, hope, and continuity, a visual metaphor for everything the foundation represents: growth from struggle, beauty from resilience, and the profound impact of unwavering compassion. Maya pauses, watching Lily chase a butterfly, and whispers, "This is what it was always meant to be." Nathaniel places a hand on her shoulder, smiling quietly. Together, they step forward, not as saviors, but as witnesses to life's quiet, transformative power, and the journey of countless others they had touched along the way.